Hello humans, this is Random Guy and welcome to the Random Channel. Today we're going to continue playing Medieval Fantasy and today we're going to be playing the second chapter. And the thing is that my app got deleted. I was messing with some stuff in my phone and I kind of deleted the Medieval Fantasy app. So I reinstalled it and I then played through the first chapter again. I changed a few choices. I did a few changes in a few choices. I wouldn't say it was the perfect run, but I did change quite a bit. So it went the score last time was 870, so I got Wealthy and Cunning Adventurer. Now it's 1240, so I got loaded with Coin Slayer of Evil. It's basically a score based thing rather than actually getting anything else. So don't worry about that. It's just to get the points, coin, and luck and stuff like that. I got 13 luck, man. I can boost my fucking stats a lot. Alright, so let's play next chapter. 15 coins, go ahead. This game takes coins to unlock chapters, so you can either watch a rewarded video, like just an ad, and get some coins, or like buy them, whatever. Recap from the last volume. You and your longtime warrior friend Regnald have recently returned to the Ring City to rest and celebrate after a successful raid on the ruined Castle Avernus. During your adventure, you rescue a young merchant's daughter by the name of Kaiba, who had been kidnapped by a band of evil priests. Once inside, you rest and apply healing ointment to your wounds, and hide majority of your loot under the floorboards of your loft. By following evening, you are refreshed and feel stronger, more powerful than ever. You toss a handful of your gold coins into your money pouch and meet up with Kaiba and Regnald at the Leering Virgin Inn for some much deserved celebration. The three of you feast and drink and tell stories. Exaggerated, of course. Yeah, we already read all of this. Why is it like the recap is just the last chapter? Right, this has happened, and like he's the murderer. This is the last point. Seize that one. The old man croaks as he points at you. He is the murderer. Me? I could never. You stutter. The old man speaks with conviction. Either he believes what he says or he's an excellent liar. To top it off, there you stand with blood on your hands. This does not look good, you think. The guard locks his eyes on you and unsheathes his sword. What do you do? Charm the guard, defend your innocence. I mean, it looks like a pretty well done. If I run, then it just looks like I am the murderer. But that would be the most logical choice considering. Yeah, they clearly want to pin this on me. Let's charm the guard. Gods know I'm innocent, you say as you wave a hand at the guard. You feel a warm tingling travel up your arm, out the end of your outstretched finger. The guard smiles broadly as the spell takes hold of his mind. It is well to see an old friend, he exclaims. The guard rushes up and clamps you in his arm. He is a murderer, the old man croaks. Silence, you are mistaken, the guard calls back. The old man grabs the guard's sleeve and points into the open doorway. Destiny's head, the guard shouts. What devil has done this? That one. You embrace the devil now, the old man shrieks. I saw this with my own eyes. The guard's expression clouds for a moment and then he shakes his head. Your decrepit eyes deceive you, he says to the old man. He then looks at you. My good man, find help. I'll search nearby for the villain. It is uncertain how long your charm spell will last, so you rush down the stairs out of the front door. When you are some distance from the inn, you stop to rest. What did the old fool see? You wonder to yourself. He did not see me. I would rather cut out my tongue than murder a friend. But the man was so sincere. Could I have been bewitched, or perhaps an illusion of me was cast? You realize that this, for the moment, it does not matter. Your charm spell will wear off soon enough, and then you will be primary suspect, perhaps the only suspect. Medieval justice is swift and unusually not well thought out. If caught, you could very well be dancing at the end of a rope by breakfast. The general alarm has not been sounded. You might be able to escape the city if you run for the outer gate now. But what then? You know the city is far better than anywhere else, and running would only implicate you further. Disguise yourself. I will not leave the city until I have found Ragnar's murderer. And to hide in the city, one must hide in plain sight, you think to yourself. You know in simple illusion that you can used to make you appear as someone else. On the other hand, there is a bazaar nearby with clothing stalls. For a little gold, you can buy a cloak or something else to conceal you on this rainy day. How much spendable points do I have? 3. All right, but not gonna buy or anything like that at the moment. I have only 22 gold, by the way. All that gold is still in my room, and they'll probably find it and keep it. Buy a disguise, I guess. And ads. You trot down a quiet alley. Wash Regnal's blood off your hands and arms in the dark rain puddle. Although this does nothing for your stained tunic, you then hustle towards the bazaar in the middle of town. You quickly find a weaver's booth and spot a long green cloak with a large cowl hood, perfect to hide. How much, you ask, pointing at the cloak. Ah, an adventurer. You flatter me by visiting my humble stall. The merchant bows with a smile. What type of world is this? Like, usually fantasy worlds, either there's a negative stigma about adventurers, or secondly, they are feared for their strength, or third, they're just considered, like a little better than outlaws. Or if there is a positive stigma about adventurers, it's usually only concerned in their danger or some problem. Like, I've never heard of anyone in any type of fantasy world go like, oh my god, adventurers? That's super cool. And just like, except for kids, I guess. Naval's cat, it's Barnable. You recognize with a shock. You were not so focused on the cloak, you did not bother to look at the merchant. You do your best to... What the fuck is that? Naval's cat, it's Barnable? Naval is a god, I believe. And scat is shit. Barnable, I have no idea. Is that like a person or something? You realize with a shock. You were so focused on the cloak and you did not bother to look at the merchant. Oh, it's someone we know. You do your best to smile casually. A good cloak for this damn weather. How much? Ah, yes, fine fabric. Heavy too. A bargain at 2 gold coins. Barnable bows again. Outrageous, you think. Hurry. However, you are in a hurry. The sooner you have your hood concealing your face, the better. On the other hand, everyone haggles for the best price in the market. Haggle for lower prices. You want to buy a disguise quickly, but decide that being blatantly suckered would be conspicuous here. Well, that would be true. 12 silver pieces, you say with a half smile. Not for this quality. You could hand this down to your son. God's willing you are blessed with one. And your son could hand it down to his son, such as the material. The two of you make several counter proposals and you settle on a single gold piece. You know you could squeeze off another silver or 2, but you do not want to take the time. You immediately put on your new cloak and quickly disappear into the crowd. In the distance, you can hear the clang of the alarm bell. Your stomach retches. You want to get out of this part of town, but unfortunately, Baban knows what you are wearing. Should you buy another cloak from another stall or just get out of here? Just buy another cloak. You find another weaver stall. You know this merchant too, although you doubt grumpy old Sheffel knows you. You hunch down, your hood low over your face. 1 gold piece for the black one, you say in disguised raspy voice as you point at a large black cloak. Sheffel nods cheerily as he hands over the cloak. Although grumpy, he has a reputation as a straightforward and fair man who will not waste time haggling when proposed a good trade. You drop the coin in his hand and you bunch up the black cloak under one arm and walk away with your head low. You find a quiet alley nearby where you strip off the green cloak and hide it in a pile of rubbish. You then put on the black one. You thought running into Barnable was unfortunate, but now you think it may have been a stroke of luck. Perhaps soon the guard will be looking for a man in a green cloak, not a black one. You feel a faint sense of relief at this thought, and when you rejoin the busy city streets, you do so with an unhurried stride, although you still keep your hood down low. There's a commotion behind. That's us, by the way. That's blonde or something. All right. There's a commotion behind you as 2 guards mounted on horses yell warning as they gallop along the busy road. The citizens of the city are accustomed to this and know to press their bodies against the building in order to avoid being trampled. You do the same. One rider speeds past you out of sight. The other slows his mount and appears to be checking people along the wall. Look at me, he demands of one man about 50 meters away. The suspect is wearing a long green cloak just as you had been. It appears Barnable did indeed tell the city guard of the cloak he sold me. You think. The rider continues along, peering intently at those against the wall. You keep your head down as though to protect your face from the rain. You let your breath go with a sigh as he rides past you. Good thing you switched your cloak. Gods, I'm hunted in my own city. You think as you resume down the busy street. Again, you consider trying to escape the city. Outside these walls, you are not known, and there is a whole world in which to hide. But what of Ragnar's murderer? Murder, okay. Murderer, yeah, you wonder. The bloody runes around Ragnar's body was an infernal language of nightmare worlds. You cannot read infernal well, and it appears to be a spell that harvests soul power from someone's soul. Neville's cat. Has Ragnar's soul been crushed before it could pass to the next world? It enrages you to think that such a fate worse than death, could have befallen such a good man. I will find whoever did this and kill him. Certainly, the soul crusher is in the city. Where better a place to harvest souls? Also, this is clearly making the path a bit linear. I can already tell, because I was going to escape the city and they decided to stay in the city because I already kind of figured this part out. Like I can clearly tell that they're going for a high morale type thing where like we have to take revenge for our friend, and if you try to run from the city something bad happens, or like a quarantine happens, so you have to stay in the city anyway and just your morale drops or something. So all right. Last time I also mistake morale for morals. Completely different things. Okay, as you continue to walk with no particular destination, your mind races to think of how you can track down this killer. The last time you saw Regnal alive, Kaiba was with him. It is unfathomable to you that the young candle merchant's daughter could have done such a vile thing herself. However, she may remember something or someone before she left. The candle shop is nearby, and soon you're standing before a wooden sign painted not with words but with pictures of candles after all. You can read in Ring City, or at least few in the neighborhood. Peering through the window, you see a tall man hunched over a table, pouring something. Wax, perhaps. You're not sure if it would be wise to go in and simply ask for her. He will not want to know your He will want to know your name and business. She may not even be here, in which case it would be better if you do not draw attention to yourself. You doubt the city guards have come to question Kaiba yet, but you expect they will get around to it eventually. You decide to chance going around the shop to try to see. In the alley between the buildings extremely narrow, you have to turn sideways to fit through. There are few metal barred windows, and around the sides around the sides and back. Enough to let in light despite only providing a view of neighbor's wall. Unfortunately, the windows are too high to see through. You are looking around for something to stand on for a boost when you hear crying. You know that crying is the same sob and whine you heard back in Castle Inverness. And you find Kaiba chained up. You sidestep your way along the alley a few steps and then listen repeatedly this process until you think you can tell which window the sob is coming from. You are about to call out to her when you hear, "Psst, you, this is not a road, off with you." An old woman hisses from a neighbor's window. Besides, she right. This is no place to be sulking around attracting attention. It's time to talk to Kaiba. The sneak past. Okay, shit. Well, that didn't end well. You watch the candle maker through the window as stealthily as you can. You need him to leave the room so that you can sneak. Eventually, you get your chance. You see him leave his workshop, exit through one of the several side doors. You presume he is going to get supplies or relieve himself. You open the front door as quietly as you can, creep in. There is a flame heating what you think is a large bowl of wax on the workbench. It smells very nice. Just then you hear a rapid footstep and the sound of an opening door. You duck down behind a bench. From underneath the legs of the table, you see a set of steps. Feet step in and stop. You hold your breath. Suddenly there's a cry and the feet dash around the table. You look up to see a man glaring down. He hits you in the head with a large spear tong. "Thief!" he yells as he hits you several more times. You scoot away from him. He advances a murderous look. Shopkeepers always have problem with thieves, so you don't see a quick way to dissuade him from starting up beating again. Okay, yeah, I should have just used that. I lost 3 mana. I was supposed to lose 2. God damn it, my bad. With a few kisses in the air and an arcane word, you cast a charm on him. "I'm so sorry," he exclaims. You must have fallen on my waxy floor, and then treats you as such. He drops the tongue and pauses. I apologize, I've forgotten your name. It should not matter if he knows who you are. Little is remembered by those under enchantment. You pull off your hood, tell him your name. My sister's rescuer, he exclaims. Dropping his work, he comes over and embraces you warmly, and then thanks you over and over until finally you put up a hand and say, "She's a good woman, it warms my heart that I've hated her. You please, I'm anxious to see how she fares now." Ah, yes, of course. I believe I noticed her thin shadow pass me earlier as I toiled. Perhaps she rests in a chamber. He begins walking towards the door. No, I insist I do not disturb your work. Please allow me private counsel with her. I will not be long. He smiles conspir- conspiratorially. Why is he smiling like that? Like a conspiracy, but I don't. Yes, yes. I'm sure she will receive you warmly. Her chamber is at the hall. Following his direction, you find his door and listen. Kaiba is still crying. You knock softly. Jacob, leave me be. You heard the plaintive voice from inside. The door is unlocked. You slip inside. Kaiba sitting on the bed, rocking back and forth. Her hands and arms are soaked in gore. Gods, you gasp. She looks at you. She looks up at you, and eyes swollen with tears. You, she exclaims. All this blood. Could she be Ragnar's killer? All this blood. There might be more to this woman than you know. If she did kill Ragnar, you may be about to die yourself. What do you do? Talk to her. Kaiba, Kaiba, all is well. You say as reassuringly as you can. Not well, not well, she sobs. Stay away, cursed by the gods. Be calm now, you say as you study her stained arms and dress normally. Oh, dress. Normally you would sit and comfort such a person, but you are afraid. As it now she is sitting and you have an advantage if it should come to a fight. What have I done? What have you done? She asked with a wild eye. Do you not know Kaiba? Kaiba, do you not know what you have done? You keep using her name, hoping that this will somehow soothe her. I cannot remember. Ragnar, do you remember the last you saw him? At the inn. You hurt him. You're such a good man. Why did you hurt him? She asked you. I could not. Why is your dress stained so? I was running away from the inn, and then there was a voice, an awful voice in my soul. She then cups her arms up and wails, I cannot remember. Soon you hear from the hall, no doubt her brother. What will you do when he sees you in here like this? Stop him in the hall, cover her with a blanket. What? You hurry over and pull the brown blanket over from the bed and wrap it around her bloody body. Just as the door opens, I hear shouting. What is the matter? The brother shouts, "Oh, she is sick. She has a fever." You lie. Gods no, she does not look well. Go, as you go, as you love her, find a healer. You command. Her brother looks uncertain. I will tend to her. Go. He leaves. Only then do you notice how much Kaiba is trembling. You tighten your grip around her. Did you kill her? Did you kill him? Did you kill Ragnar? You ask. Kaiba cries out as though in pain, squirms for a second and then is still. You must run now, she says in a husky voice unlike her own. Run and hide, little rabbit. What? You stammer. They will hang you if they catch you. Do you wish to die, little rabbit? You draw your dagger, but some unseen force suddenly hurls you across the room to strike the wall. Kaiba is standing now. Kaiba is now standing, smiling at you menacingly. What do you do? Question or more. What possesses you? Ask. Kaiba smiles for a moment and then collapses. A dark shadow fills the room. It returns. Kaiba whispers, still on the floor. Her voice is sad and faint as though she now speaks from a troubled dream. I am the timeless one. Even when the sun ceases to rise, I will be here. I will ride your pathetic soul into your own nightmare. A voice whispers from somewhere, perhaps from within your own mind. And then everything goes dark. The next thing you know, you are sitting hunched over on the street, your long hood draped over your face. You look up, instantly recognize the area. You are in the north of the Middle Ring district. But the candles shop was on the south side. You stand up to get your bearings, but sit back down as your head spins. You feel weak and sit for a moment to rest, taking care to keep your head low as passers-by cannot see your face. Was I possessed or simply bewitched in some way? And Kaiba, what role does she play? He was clearly under the demon's command or whatever. Okay. At home, you have expensive and rare books on the mystical and arcane. In those pages might lie the answer. In addition, your spell books and the majority of your gold are there. Few know where you live, as you have always kept your squalid little loft a secret, for fear of someone stealing your books. If I'm lucky, the city guard will not know where I sleep. I may as well have a look. Your home is not far, rather than immediately creeping into the alley and climbing up the crumbling wall to the roof access of your loft as you normally do. You decide instead to first walk around the block. As you pass the alley entrance, you see the flash of metal, a guard. You turn away, keep walking, your head bent low to allow your hood to shield you. Across the street, you slip into another alley, and then climb up a wall you scaled many times as a boy. Carefully, you peek over the rooftop down into your apartment, the alley accessing it. The two guards walking aside a man in a long grey robe. That is Kalak, the seer. Seers like Kalaks are adept at using their crystal balls to spy, called scry. Okay, upon beings. You know that the city authority often employs the seers to track down fugitives. Fugitives like me, you think. In Kalak's hand there is something, your prized spell book. Even from this distance, the red leather binding it is unmistakable. One of the guards carries a sack filled with something, more of your possession, no doubt. I have a home no longer, you realize. It is depressing that you found your valuables so quickly, considering the pain you took to disguise the secret compartment under the floorboard. Worse than losing your things is the thought of why they went through the trouble to find them and haul them off. Kalak will use my book to scry upon me. Scrying spells that allow one to spy on another from a distance, usually require a possession of the owner. The more dear the possession, the easier it is to track down the person the item belongs to. Kalak is hardly the most powerful seer in the city. Nevertheless, he certainly will have no problem finding you if he uses your red book, given the countless hours you have spent studying it. One guard turns back down the alley in the direction of your loft. They have brought a ladder to access it. The other guard, who you recognize as William of Darkmoor from the outer circle, remains with Kalak, who is walking slowly down the street while inspecting your book. You do not know either of the men well. However, you are fairly certain that Kalak knows only divination spell, nothing that could directly harm you, that will harm you directly. William on the other hand, is a disciplined and skilled soldier. Despite William, you decide you must get the book back. If you don't, you will be caught soon anyways. William remains close to his charge and appears vigilant. They are nearing Baby Dragon Square, a busy intersection of the city. You scramble off the roof and hurry after them. What do you plan to do? I think casting an illusion would be the best. I don't think snatching the book would be. As soon as I grab the book, he's gonna hold the book and scream like William. He's like snatching the book or something. Let's cast an illusion. You could either cast an illusion on yourself to impersonate someone, or you could create an illusion apart from yourself, perhaps ahead of them, to distract them as you go for the book. Either way, the illusion will not last long. You begin whispering the incantation while imagining the details of the images you are about to create. What kind of illusion do you cast? Gangs of violent thugs does sound cool, actually. Man, I'm using up way too much of my mana in life. God damn it. A double of yourself is like the guard or Ragnar will not work. Definitely not. A double of myself could work because like, oh, there he is, grab him. But thugs would definitely work. But if they're thugs, like if he swings at them, they're gonna dissipate. So it's like, oh shit, it's an illusion. But a double of myself, they will chase after it. So I'm gonna double of yourself. Mana decreases 3, morale increases 2. Who better to cast an illusion off than yourself? And what could make a more convincing distraction to William and Kalak than to have appear before their eyes the very man they're hunting for? You weave your way through the dense crowd until you are close enough to make a dash for the book. While still blending into the crowd, practice in your art, you couldn't see your hands under your cloak to trace the intricate patterns required of your spell. William shouts and Kalak guesses they spot you several paces ahead of them. Your illusionary face is clear under the hood of a green cloak. As you had expected, William charges your fleeing illusion as Kalak, who is no good in a fight, stares after him. You dash up and snatch the book from Kalak and then grab for the bag of your belongings. Two of them, Kalak screams. William's sword drawn turns back to see you. Stop, he shouts. Seeing cold steel convinces you to give up the bag and just run. William shouts again and struggles through a throng of people to catch up, but you have a good head start and unlike William, wear no armor. It is not long before you have lost him in the evening foot traffic. As you hunch over panting to catch your breath. Panting to catch your breath. What the fuck am I reading? Okay, I'm low on mana. Catch a breath, you consider your next move. It will not take them long to realize just what just happened, if they have not already. At least for denying Kalak, the seer of your most dear possession, it will take him longer to find you. Nonetheless, he will still eventually locate your soul's energy. He still has the rest of your possession, and although your soul imprint on those items is more dispersed than on your spell book. Wait, what? So the possession of your... He still has the rest of your possession, and although your soul's imprint on those items more dispersed than on your spell book, he will still have enough to eventually track you. I'm not the only fugitive in the city. There must be a way to thwart the seers, you think. Although known as adventurers, even reckless at times, you've always been more or less law-abiding. You know little about how the underground of Ring City functions. Perhaps now would be a good time to learn more. There's only one person you know who might help you. Much better. Okay, this is not too much better. It's still too bright. But alright. Alright, done. This is done. There's only one person you know who might help you. A girl you grew up with named Mala. She is a woman now, working in a brothel in one of the seediest districts of the city. She is no criminal herself, however, as a girl she is always inquisitive and talkative. Given the reputation of her neighborhood, you are certain she will know an outlaw or two. No matter what, you feel you must do something to keep hidden. What do? Definitely not kill Kalak, that would even further cause problems for me. Attempt to talk to Mela. It disturbs you that the thought of murdering Kalak even crossed your mind. He is merely carrying out his duty. Not only would such a move make you a real murderer, the killing would be senseless. After all, you would only hire another seer to find you, likely a more powerful one. Unfortunately, talking to Mala will not be a trivial task either. You will have to get through the wall between the middle ring where you are now to the outer ring where Mala's brother lives. Now might be a good time to tell you a bit more about the city you grew up in. Ring City is so called because it consists of 3 circular rings, as you know. Usually, I think the best example I can give you of such a design would be from Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan had this ring city structure, and there was actually fairly large amounts of castles that were made in this manner. Usually a kingdom that is small, usually how they work is that there is the castle, right? And then there's districts and there's provisions around the castle. And they could be actually really far away from the castle as well. So it's not like they have to be in the near vicinity of the castle. But that's how it is. But some cases, in some very peculiar cases, they would used to do it like this. They would make the castle and then they would put the nobles and the royalties houses around there. And after that, they would wall it off. Then there's another wall. And there's a smaller version of a wall that works as a gate. And then there's the second wall, there's the merchants, where's the higher middle class families and marketplaces and such things exist in the second ring. The outer ring is where, deceased, or I mean deceased not as in like dead, diseased the decrepit and that sort of stuff, like all the untouchables of society. Peasants live there. Sometimes farmers even live there. Usually farmers live near their farm rather than within that walled off area, but you know how it is. um, and also brothels used to be there. All type of shady shit is on the outside, kept away from the nobles, you know. So that's how it is. Okay, let's see. Like the rings on a tree stump. The first wall, the inner ring, was built when the city was born. Back then, the city, a town, really, was commonly known as Hell's Gate. The wall was built to defend their residents from the brutal giants of Landis, who lived in the forest and mountains nearby. As the city population grew and the wall could no longer contain the residents, an outer walled ring, the previous one, was built. In the next century, yet another wall was built around the second one. As the giants were driven away and replaced with the savage northern barbarians, who in turn were replaced by the voracious goblin hordes. The two inner walls, besides providing additional layers of protection, also divide the city into three distinct social strata. Okay, the inner circle, the smallest by far, is reserved for nobility and the servants. The second circle, or the middle ring, is, as it is called, is where the well-to-do commoners live, along with successful merchants, guildmaster, wealthy craftsmen, and the like. Finally, outer circle, the largest of the three, is for the rest. Many of the men in the outer circles are miners who toil in gold and silver mines of the nearby mountains. To ensure that the citizens do not frequently ring outside their status without good cause, all the inner walls have gates which are monitored by guards. Fortunately, you are passing from the second ring to the outer ring, which is to say that you are going from a better neighborhood to a lesser one. So the wall guards are not likely to scrutinize you too much. After all, they can presume you are a good citizen to have come from the second ring. If you want to slum about in this outer ring, that's your business. Still, you are a wanted man and cannot use your illusions or charm to pass through the gate, through because every gate has an anti-magic barrier around it to prevent such chicanery. Although it takes a great deal of walking, you go ahead and scout out all three gates. Each has a single guard. You know all of them. Reginald was once a guard himself, so through him you know most city guards, at least by reputation. The first gate is manned by Flosson, an honest and dedicated man who is an old friend of yours. The second is manned by Town. Okay. Reginald hated Ton because he believed he was dishonest and corrupt. On the other hand, Ton might be someone who you could bribe. The second gate is manned by Celephus, who is neither noble nor corrupt, but nearly incompetent. Which guard do you try to get past? I think my honest friend would not like the fact that I killed my other honest friend. So I'm going to go for Ton the Corrupt. I have 20 gold, that should be enough, I think. And 20 gold maybe not enough. Like, I had 300 gold, so that would have easily gotten me whatever it would take, like 50 gold, I don't care. God damn it. And this is a very difficult choice. That's a very difficult choice. What would I do? Let me think. Like, if I need to get out of the country, let's say I need to get out of my state, and so what type of people should I go for? Someone I know, a friend of mine, but is not corrupt and who now thinks that I'm a fugitive. I could go for him, but I don't think that would be a good idea, because at least clearly it does not say best friend, it says honest friend. So there's a difference there. I don't think he would be a good idea. A corrupt one would definitely be good. Selfish, the incompetent. I mean, the incompetent usually do work out well because, sometimes, especially in my damn country, you find people at like very important positions. Like someone from the news went to some place and was going to check around to see was the police condition, and they found the policeman like sleeping on duty. So it was like, all right, that certainly does help to get past them, but I'm gonna take the corrupt one. I'm not sure if I have enough gold, but hopefully I have. From the shadows of the narrow alley, you watch the gate that Ton is guarding. The tall and lanky man is leaning against the side of the gate. glaring at everyone who comes through. Lower your hood when passing the gate, he commands in a nastily and bored tone. It is raining lightly, but citizens comply with the order. My cloak will not hide me. You think to yourself. Unhappily, okay. I was thinking of something else. Perhaps a few coins would convince him not to bother a man who doesn't want to get well, you wonder. What do you do? Do you attempt to bribe him? And there's still Cephalus and the slow-witted guard and Flossin, your good and honest friend. Let's give him a bribe. You wait until there's no one attempting to pass the gate. Then you walk towards dawn with your head down and low as well, sheltering yourself from the wet. You decide to impersonate an old blind man. Back when you were a young and mischievous lad, you used to poke fun at Reginald's crockety old grandfather by mimicking the man stooping and limping gait. Fetch me a biscuit, boy, you'd command Reginald using his grandfather's gravely voice. He would laugh and then punch you. Such memories are bittersweet now. But at least you hope to be convincing in your adopted persona. Lower your hood when passing the gate. Spare a tired man the chill of this wet. Spare a tired man the chill of this wet, sir. You don't look up as you extend out the gold. You feel the weight of the coins lifted. Mere hearth warm you, says Don. You let out a sigh of relief after you cleared the gate. This is the best thing. This is the worst and the best thing. This is how it always is. Corruption is just too good. You may think that you're not accustomed to corruption. Man, these fuckers outside, always noise. The thing is that I live in India, right? It's one of the most corrupted nations out there. So you can literally bribe everyone here. Nobody is like against bribes. Nobody. From the policemen to government officials to whosoever, whatnot. And even if it's your right, you will have to bribe. Like, there are two things: when you are doing something you're not supposed to be doing, so you're bribing. And second of the time, that you have a right to do something, but someone is proposing, someone is coming in your way, and that's why you have to bribe. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say I live in a residential area, right? So the residential area requires, when you build in a residential area, you need to have a permission. You need to get a permit from the government officials to build in that area, right? So what happens is there are two pathways. First, you just build. You don't give a fuck. You're like, fuck it, and just call the workers or whatever and make them start the building, make a house for me. Okay, so the policeman would come. You hand over the money, like, here you go, your fucking bribe, or like candy for your kids, as you like to call it. And you just hand over money, a certain amount, and they just take it and they just leave, and they will not come back. Like, my neighbor could literally call them and tell them that there's illegal construction going in, like, right next to me in a residential area. This guy does not have a permit. The policeman will not come, or will they? If they come, they're just like, fuck you. And because they got the money, they will not interfere until unless the person who's calling also decides to give more money than we have given. Then the policeman will not interfere in any way, shape, or form. On the other hand, this is the bribe way, right? Let's go the legal way. So the legal way requires you to go to a government office, right? And then you register. You give the registration of your land, the plot you want to build on, right? And once you provide that, you are supposed to fill a few forms, submit a few documents, and then you have to bribe the government official, because he will not pass out the fucking plans if you do not give him money. It could take up to 5 fucking years, right? 5 years of continuously going there every 2 or 3 days to fill in new documents, to file new documents again and again and again and again, and he will not let your appeal go through whatsoever, right? He will not take it. Like, he will just like take your file, and the next day you come is like, oh sorry, I misplaced your file again. make another file. Then you bring him another file, he's like, oh sorry, misplaced again. Bring another file. He will not give you the file. He will, you can do whatever you want. He will not make you the permit, right? So you give him money, right? And he will make your appeal go through and get you the permit like a week or so, like a week or 2 weeks, and you will get the permit instead of the 5-6 years of not getting the permit. After that, even after you start building with a permit, the policeman will always have some bullshit to come up with, like, oh man, you're being too loud, so it's like against the noise pollution laws of the area, and you're just like disrupting everyone despite the fact that you have a permit. So you will have to pay them eventually anyway. I guess if you have a permit, you have to pay less. So it's basically like bribe 2 people and do it legally, and then bribe 1 people and do it illegally. Your house is going to be made at the end of the day, or not going to be made at the end of the day. Decide to be an honest and hardworking individual. That's not how this country works. I'm going to do a little segment later on where I just talk. I just take a topic, take a situation, take a country, take something out of the local, or take a topic as in like maybe a more intriguing topic such as like society and stuff like this, and then I'm just going to talk about it. I may just do that at some point, but I should really consider going through this faster. Again, hopefully I'll get this episode to an hour long. And I will try to do uploads every single day, but it's probably not going to happen because I have to study for my exams as well. They're up and coming. Right. The mic alright? Yeah, my mic's alright. Okay. Holy shit, I've been talking for 7 minutes. Right, this is done. You continue on and finally enter the Newgate neighborhood. Newgate neighborhood, a shorter and more pleasant name for New Hell's Gate. This is where Mala's brothel is. You now quicken your pace and lean forward like a charging bull. You take care not to look up at anyone, and fortunately the hood concealing your face is perfectly normal here. Even during the daytime in Newgate, it's safest to travel with a gang. Alone, the best you can do is move quickly and with purpose. You make it to the brothel without incident. It's one of the few well-maintained buildings in the area, and it has a fresh paint job. It has a fresh paint job of bright red. You are not sure whether news of your fugitive status has reached this neighborhood yet, but you decide it would be unwise to simply walk in and announce yourself. You could either keep your head down as you have been and rely on your cloak to disguise you, or you could use an illusion, pose as someone else. Darkener, an assistant of yours who work in the docks district, has told you more than once how much he likes the brothel. Rely on the cloak. I'm not using more mana. Fuck that. Surely they are accustomed to patrons wanting to remain anonymous, so the hood over my face shall not draw suspicion, you reason. Like the others, the interior is brightly painted. The furnishing are very comfortable, and large and thick cushions on chairs are stark contrast to the simple furniture typical of ring city homes. There are 2 men sitting in their chairs, one chatting and laughing softly with a woman, not Mala. Another man snoring loudly in the corner. On one end of the room is a table with large wash bowl and wine bottle. Behind the table is a bald man who approaches you, who watches as you approach. I wish to meet with Mala, you say to the man. The two of you settle on 2 gold, after which... Why did my gold go down to 4 then if he settled for 2? The 2 of you settle on 2 gold, after which you are uncheered to sit. Despite the plush chair, you squirm uncomfortably. Is it normal to wait? You wonder. Could the city guard be on the way? You tell yourself you are being paranoid, and Maya is simply with another customer. Finally, you see Maya walking towards you. She is prettier than you remember her. She has a great deal of makeup on her and is covered in jewelry. Her jade earrings click as she strikes towards you with a smile. You bow and meet her halfway with motioning towards the open door behind you. She gets the hint. Okay, so I bow and meet her halfway while motioning. Okay, so I bend forward and then I do the hand motion towards the door. Okay, so I don't actually like bend forward, straighten up, then do the hand motion. I do it like halfway through. Okay. She gets the hint and leads you out of the waiting room through a series of hall stairs to a long room with beds partitioned off with one another by a thin drape. There is movement and voice throughout the room. Somewhere more private, you ask? There is no 2 gold extra for a room. You pull out 2 gold and she takes and nods. Okay, so that's why we took extra 2 gold. I was wondering, like, man, if we are doing it like right next to other people, that could pose a problem. Okay, I'm throwing gold though. I only have 11 gold. So, but I've gotten the average idea of what the fucking money system here is. So it's like, I would say like around 1 gold is where you can get a fine quality robe, right? And bribes are 5 gold. So okay, so a prostitute is 2 gold. That's twice as much as a fine quality stuff. And a rent a room, but that's in a brothel also. If a normal rent a room would be cheaper than a brothel rent a room. Okay. She leads you up another flight of stairs, knocks on a door. There is yelling followed by hushed voices. You see the blur of a man and woman quickly vacating the room. Shy and generous, I like that. Myla says when you are in the bedroom alone, you are as quiet as you think you what the fuck am I reading? You are quiet as you think of what to say. Her eyes shift nervously. She points at your cloak. We are not going to want that on. What do you do? Reveal yourself. I'm gonna unsheath my cloak. Okay, that just sounds fucking sexual, but whatever. I unsheath my long, thick, hard cloak out. Alright, Mala's eyes widen as she sees my thick, hard cloak. Oh man, I'm just cracking myself up. Whatever. Mala's eyes widen as you remove your hood. She then hugs you and commences to bombard you with questions. The two of you laugh as you trade a few stories from your shared childhood past. And what of you then? She asks. I heard tale of you and Reginald have been off hunting goblins or some other such recklessness. Reginald, he is dead, murdered. Mala gasps and sit down on the bed. Some believe I murdered him. By gods, I did not. I could not. Mala shakes her head. Impossible. He was a brother to you. Indeed. Nevertheless, now I am hunted like a rabid beast and I need your help. Only information. Mala looks at you uncertainly. They use a seer to track me. I need protection from this. There are men in World's End who have such protection. Else they would have hung. There are men in World's End who have such protection. Else they would have been hung long ago. I thought perhaps. I might know such men. Mala finishes her sentence. She is silent for a moment. Such information is... I want to help you only. Perhaps someone else could. She stammers. You must understand that such men would do awful things to me if they learned I spoke of them. And these are dark times. Some of the priests say that a great evil has been awakened. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's the evil we awakened. Well, not we awakened. I was leaving. Reginald was like, nah, fam, let's check down there. Well, I did get 110 gold, which I lost now. So what's the point? So literally gained nothing but death of Reginald and a beast roaming around trying to kill me. And Kaiba, I guess. Okay. And these are dark times. Some of the priests say that a great evil has been awakened and now stalks our streets, conspiring with other rotten souls, growing stronger. Mala has not survived in Newgate this long by babbling about her criminal acquaintances. You believe you will have to do something to convince her. Threatening her will be no good. Like, what am I going to threaten her with? Like, I'm going to blast you with a fireball? I'm already a fucking fugitive. That's not going to work. Bribe her is impossible. I don't have 15 gold, which you could possibly have at this point in the game. So I'm guessing that, oh my god, okay. So how much gold can you actually get? I'm gonna try out the new different play styles to see if I could get like a lot of gold. Considering they would not put an option here if it was impossible to get 15 gold. If they were to say like gold 999, then I would be like, yeah, okay, so that's a troll little thing they put in there. But like if it's 15 gold, then it could be plausible. Okay, so I think maybe the 15 gold is plausible if you don't bribe the guard and just go towards the Stupid guard, right? That's Charmer. You and Mala have always been friends, and so charming her will not require as much mana as usual. Okay, so usually takes 3 mana, now it's 2. You blow kisses into the air, speak the arcane word, point to her. You know the spell works when she suddenly embraces you, squeezing hard and yelping for joy. You try to get her to tell you how to go about protecting yourself from the seer, but she continues to weep and give you wet kisses while murmuring about the old times, the best times. Finally, you get her on track. As a wizard, you must know that only magic can protect you from the seer's crystal ball. There are charms and ordinary-looking items such as brass bracelets or even a golden tooth that ward those who do not wish to be found. Do you know where I could buy such a charm? I do not know who sells such things. I only know of a man who wears one. And that man is, you ask. Mala hesitates for a moment. He's known as Gorgon. Although, wait, didn't Reginald say at some point Gorgon's ass or something? Oh yeah, in the inn. When we talk about like how there's no justice and there's only power, Reginald says that that's something Gorgon's ass would say. Or Gorgon's ass would write. So that's Gorgon. He's probably a brute. Man, these are shady fucking things. Okay. Although I assure you he is human, her eyes lowered as she says this. He has boasted to me of his warded charm, a worthless-looking copper ring on his right hand. You have her tell you as much as she knows about Gorgon and his gang. Since you have rented a room with a bed, this might be a good place to rest and regain some measure of strength. On the other hand, can you trust Mala? What about anyone else that knows of you? What about anyone else that knows you are here? Man, I don't think she will turn me in, so I'm gonna rest. Mana increases 3, life increases 2, morale increases 2. Yes, rest, sleep. Mala says after you tell her your intention. You are blattered and a tired one. Allow me to quickly lie on the bed to keep you warm. Quietly lie on the bed to keep you warm. It really was for the information you paid the gold, not the usual region money is exchanged in such places, in this place. Also, above all, you require a peaceful rest. Still, it is probably best to keep up appearances to the brothel owner. Besides, Mala has always been a friend, and you do not wish to insult her by kicking her out. She is true to her word on not disturbing you, and you find her cuddling warm and comforting as you drift off to sleep. A few hours later, as you prepare to leave, Mala hugs you again and kisses you on the cheek. Gorgon is cruel and will kill you for no reason other than it pleases him. His henchmen are no better. You nod, put your hood back up and walk out the door. Okay. Holy shit, this could be problematic. I'm barely surviving. I don't have gold, I don't have mana, I don't have jack shit. Somehow gain some mana in life. I do have some, let me check. Can I? Yeah, I have 3 spendable points. So if shit goes down, I might just spend them. Hopefully they work like this, then when I spend them, if I'm like in a choice and then it shows like you don't have the mana required for this, so I can immediately use it and get the mana required for it. But if that's not the case, that could be a tad bit problematic. Okay. I'm not sure if I will be uploading today though. My internet's quite slow. I'm not going to my brother's house who has faster internet. So I'm not sure if I will upload today, but hopefully I will. Who knows? Okay, night has fallen by the time you reach the district where Gorgon's gang is based. Man, these people are still shouting outside. Mala did not know where Gorgon would be or out elsewhere, up to some villainy. You wonder if it might be wise to come back here in the morning. If Gorgon is like the few thugs and thieves you've known, he is more likely to be asleep at home during the day. How you dare not delay. Only a few seconds ago, you had a certain feeling of exposure, as though you were suddenly naked in an empty room with eyes peering in at you. Was I cried upon? You wonder. The sooner you get that warded ring, the safer you feel. The boisterous voices of young men erupt ahead of you. This neighborhood is controlled by gang, who are particularly active at night. So far, you have managed to avoid others by slipping from shadows to shadow, hiding behind refuse or in dark alleys. Refuse, I think, is a toilet. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, the road you are on is lined with tightly packed buildings and offers no suitable place to hide. Despite being dimly lit and littered with garbage, what do? You can tell there are at least three of them. You have a spell that will allow you to climb up a wall like a spider. Even if they look up, they will not be able to follow. On the other hand, perhaps if you show that you are not afraid, they will think better than to bother you. After all, you could be anyone under the hood. I've heard about this that there's a fucking issue. That the thing is that gangs and like thuggish people, they work very peculiar manner at sometimes. Like in a normal setting, on a road, right? If you meet these people and if you act anywhere like scared, or if you give any hint of weakness, they act in a, how should I put this? They act like bullies in a school, like in a high school or something. So they sense weakness and they go after it. So in a setting like on a street with thugs, walking down confidently usually works. Confidently, not threateningly. That would just cause problems. But confidently is very important in those manners. So you don't look down. You pump your chest up and just walk about. In the prison, in the block, that's a completely, in the joint, that's a completely different issue. Like when you're in a prison and you walk in acting all tough and strong, like that's an issue. The people in the prison have some kind of code. Sometimes they follow this setting where they go for the gangs in prison, right? So they think like if anyone is staying longer in the prison, like if I have been in the prison for last 5 years and a dude comes in like today, so I will expect him to provide me with respect considering I am his senior in the prison, right? So the way it works is that they would be extremely angry at you and will think of you as a problem, and they will come after you if you act tough from the start. It's best to act confident in a prison, but not as like you're strong and you're able to defend yourself. If you act like that from the start, that's an issue. But after time, like if you have been in a prison for a few days and after that you start acting tough, that's all right. And maybe join a gang. If not join a gang, that's also fine. But you can be a bit more on the like offensive defense. Like defense is the best offense side, but not actually defensive, because they will think of that as a weakness. So you don't act tough on the first day. After that, you don't act as someone who can be picked on, and you mind your own business. That's how it usually works. So it's different. It's a bit different on the streets rather than in a prison. Prison confidence can be taken wrong. So I'm gonna stride forward assertively. No, thank you. Best to not show fear. You think to yourself. You stride forward confidently, as though you own this neighborhood. Okay, that's a bit too much confident. Like I told you to be confident, but I didn't say like be that confident. That usually poses. Well, then again, that poses an issue in the prison. Maybe out on the streets is much better than that. Like if you walk around like if you're fucking tough shit, and maybe on the street it may be a bit different. Prison, it will not end well. You stride forward confidently, as though you own this neighborhood. You keep your hood up, but do not stoop over as you have been. Soon 3 young men come around the corner. They're all carrying weapons, not even sheathed, just carrying them in their hand, as though about to engage in melee at any moment. Gods, this is a tough neighborhood, you think to yourself. 2 of them carrying sword, a third carries a nasty looking spiked club. One of the youth is swinging his sword about, and carelessly, as he yells a brawny joke to the others. 3 of them quickly notice you and become silent. They are staring. This isn't good. To stare in the street of Ring City is a sign of disrespect. Obviously, they're not too worried about who is under the cloak. You suppose now that you can't blame them. There's a reason why people in these streets These neighborhoods join gangs, strength in numbers. You quicken your pace and walk straight at them. To go around them now would only be admitting weakness. Unfortunately, they don't part for you. And a few meters from them, you are off to get around them. Hello, let's see your pretty face, daughter, the one from the club says jeeringly. He referred to me as a young girl. This sign is not good. They all step forward menacingly. You can smell the pungent smell of one of them. What do? Shoot fire fan on them. Fire fan, I just figured out yesterday. It's in Dark Souls 3. I did not know that. Fire fan is actually a move that the desert sorcerers use. They use it for like, when they usually use long range pyromancies. There's the sorceresses, and they usually go for a close range attack for. When you come in way too close for a melee character, so they use this fan of flame. There's basically a huge fan type thing, like a handheld fan, the physical one, not a motor one, and then like swing it around and hit you with it. So I might put up a photo I found on a very peculiar site, and when I saw this, it was fucking beautiful. Maybe not here. I will put up the photo on my Twitter. So if anyone wants to see that, just go and follow me on Twitter, and I'm going to be posting the photo after this video goes up. So it's a really beautiful photo. I don't know who drew it. I didn't check. So if anyone knows who drew it, please do tell me. And it's such a beautiful photo. It's like absolutely stunning. It's mind-blowing. Maybe I'll put a snippet of it on the screen. Oh boy, that was a bad decision. I should have just crawled up the walking wall. Now that I'm not on the street level, options are fucking not good. Let's see. So I can shoot fire fan upon them, which is bad because I'm gonna be using up 4 fucking mana and I do not want to use that. I'm using way too much mana, dude. Like, I should have just used the fucking spider walk. I didn't think they would actually. I guess my figure, yeah, that's one of the only things I didn't take into account. I was thinking about it, but I didn't say it out loud, so I kind of forgot about it myself. That your figure should be huge. Like, if you like thin or like small or like fat or something, like small and fat, like that's not going to be looking intimidating at all. Like, doesn't matter how confidently you walk, you're just going to look like a weaker target. So physical attributes are also a thing which I completely forgot about, which is why this scene happened. I could go back a choice using a luck point, but how much do I have even luck? Whose stats? I have 13 luck. I could go back. I don't think this is such a dire situation that I need to go back. I'll just save my luck for now. I'm not sure what it does actually, except for going back in choices. Yeah, it uses 1 luck. Let's charm one of them. Running is shooting fire flame is not good. I'm not sure even they would get harmed, or like they could die from that either, or second they would just get harmed and I will run and they're gonna tell their gang and then an entire gang will be after me. Running is no thing. Like, I can't run from them. There are 3 of them and they're well physically built. I'm like a wizard, so I don't think I can run from them. Charm one of them is the best thing I can do. Mana decreases and life decreases. God damn. You blow kisses into the air, speak the arcane word, and point 1 with the club. You feel the connection made and he smiles at you. Unfortunately, the other two do not appear to appreciate kisses being blown at them. And one steps forward and swings his sword savagely at you. You step back, but the blade still catches you in the flank. Stop. The one with the club shout. This one is a friend of ours. The 2 look uncertain, and nevertheless, they lower their weapon. The bewitched man strides up to you, claps you on the shoulder, then headbutts you in what you assume is a sign of affection. After some introductions, some of them which are quite confusing to the other 2, since the charmed companion is unable to explain exactly how you and he is acquainted, you ask them where Gorgon is. The man with the spike club happily gives you direction and even offers to escort you. Decline his offer since you're not sure how long the charm will last. So you continue your search. These people could come after me because they know I'm going to Gorgon's. As you continue your search for Gorgon's lair, as Mara called it, after a few more close calls with gang patrols, you find what Mala described. The building is much like the others. which is to say old and dirty and neglected. However, the one that has a large blue door with the words "the law" carved into it. Suddenly, you have that naked feeling again, and you shiver. I mean, I'm being spied upon. Calac has found me. You think for a moment. Then you reassure yourself that it is only nerves. After all, you're standing in front of the door of a killer. You hear a rustle. What is that inside? What the fuck is that? A pig man? You hear a rustle from behind you and you spin around. Out from a large pile of trash emerges the head of a giant rat. His red eyes fix upon you and it sniffs the air. Who be you? Yeah, it asks in a raspy voice. Your hood is low and you suppose it cannot see your face. The thing stands up and you see that it has the body of a man with a long rat tail. A were rat, you realize with a shock. Mala warned you that Gorgon may employ monsters to guard his hideout. From what you understand, were rats are more cunning than most people and are fast and throughout evil. You notice the glint of steel in one of the were rat's hand. You wonder if you could use an illusion on yourself to impersonate one of the Gorgon's thugs. On the other hand, a charm spell might be easier. Finally, you could just blast the rat with flames. You imagine rats don't like fire. Not much does what? Burning it is definitely not a good idea if it's part of the gang. Charming it is not a good idea because if you charm him, he's gonna come back and it's like, oh, you charmed me. Impersonate a thug. I'm pretty damn sure he knows all the thugs considering he's guarding his lair. Talk your way in. That decreases 4. Great job, me. I'm here to see Gorgon, you say. As you approach him. What? Okay, hold on. I'm here to see Gorgon. You say as you approach him. I know the were snaps, else be here. Who be ye? In response, you lower your hood and the were squints at you. His nose twitches, he keeps his knife ready. You move in closer, smiling. My business, can you give me audience? Oh, but it can be my business. Any man wants to see Gorgon, be my business. Now take off your cloak and show me what be underneath. The rat says it as it leers at you, taking a step closer. Not far, you hear a blustering shouts. More thugs, perhaps coming this way. If you will not give me audience, I best be on my way, you say. No, you isn't going any place just yet. You smell, the rat says, as he sniffs the air. You smell like you isn't from these parts. You turn to go and you hear a rustle behind you. You whirl around swinging your dagger. He is fast and nevertheless, what am I saying? He is fast and ready, so he ducks back. Nevertheless, your blind swing is very lucky. You slash right across his eye. He snarls and thrusts the knife into your stomach. You whir about each other, stabbing and slashing in a frenzy. The rat is fast and strong, and you are sure that if had not been for that lucky first swing that half blind him, he would win. As it is, you get behind him and slit his throat from behind. The rat slumps to the ground, his life blood draining out in spurts. You cut the key from his belt, run to the door, unlock and slip inside. The hallway is lit with candles and set on small inlays of the stone walls. You stop and listen. There are raised voices up ahead. You creep along the hallway up to an open doorway. Inside, 2 men appear to be arguing in a language you do not understand. You can see them clearly thanks to a large fire burning in the fireplace nearby. A naked, bound, gagged man hangs by his long hair from the rafters above. The naked man is swinging back and forth like a pendulum, thanks to each man absently taking turns shoving him as they continue to argue. One of the arguing men fits Mala's description of Gorgon. Half of his bald head is disfigured by a terrible burn. Gorgon is a large man wearing thick leather armor. Battle axe is leaning against the wall near him. The other man is muscular with a square face and a large jutting chin. Now what, you wonder? Even if that feeling you had earlier was not from being cried upon, Calac should be able to find you soon. And then there is that dead were rat out in the alley. How long before that's noticed? On the other hand, it would be a nice opportunity if you could find an opportunity to confront Gorgon alone. It might behoove you to wait. Why would I blast them? That's so random. That's literally so random. I'll just wait and see. You decide to wait and certainly that they will tire of this argument and go their separate ways. After which, you can take on Gorgon by himself. The two drone on for some time. Just as you're about to do something about it, you hear a loud bang followed by a rush of boots from somewhere in the house. Gorgon grabs his battle axe, run towards your hiding place. The other man runs to a door and leaves. You need the warded ring on Gorgon. It would be up. It would appear as is now or never. Let's do a lightning bolt. Man, I'm run out of mana. I've completely run out of mana. I needed to use the lightning bolt a bit. I'm sure a firebolt would just like anger him. You jump out of the shadows, blast Gorgon with a lightning bolt. Through the flash of light, you cannot see exactly where you hit him, but he flies backward onto his back. Without a moment to lose, you charge up, fall upon him with your dagger. He is still alive. Sharp pain shoots from his side when he has struck you with a dagger of his own. You stab him several more times until certain he is dead. Without a moment to lose, you search the Gorgon's hand for his bordered copper ring, find it and put it on. Next, you cut the double rope knotted on the naked man long. He falls to the floor. Next, you cut the rope double knotted to the naked man's long hair. He falls to the floor. You then run to the door that the square-jawed man had run through, but the door is now locked. You are trapped. Into the room stream several city guards, 3 with swords drawn and 2 more crossbows at the ready. You hear more coming and you know that you are hopelessly outnumbered. You drop your dagger and surrender. The guards waste no time. They throw you on the ground, search your body and bind your hands behind your neck. He's a murderer, sorcerer. You had best gag him, one of the guards says. Why take a chance, says the another. He hits you in the head with the hilt of his sword. You wake up in a stone cold floor on the cell, balled up. A balled up rag has been shoved into your mouth, and another string is tied tightly around your head to keep the rag in place. Your hands have been tied behind your back and legs bound together. After struggling in vain, you decide to make the best of the terrible situation, roll over to the pile of straw strewn over the far end of the cell. The straw smells of urine, but at least is softer and warmer than lying on the stone. With nothing else to do, you go back to sleep. Mana 7 and life increase 4. You are awakened at some point in the night by muffled frightening shouts from somewhere in the dungeon. This is followed by gurgling, and then suddenly nothing. What? What has gone on? You hear someone calling in a trembling voice, presumably from another cell. There is no answer. Eventually, you curl up on the straw and go back to sleep. When you next wake up, sunshine is streaming through your tiny barred window. Despite your disturbed and uncomfortable sleep, you feel somewhat refreshed. Now that you can see clearly, you look yourself over. You have been stripped down to your tunic and trouser. Your spellbook in gold is gone. I still have 11 gold. What the fuck? Spellbook in gold is gone, as is the ring you took from Gorgon. Gorgon's sham won't help me now anyway. A seer is no longer required to find me. You reflect bitterly. Your self-pity is interpreted by the sound of footfall. For a moment, you fear your time is up. But when the cell door opens, it is not the executioner you see, but a beautiful woman. Finally, the gods smile upon me. The woman has long blonde hair that flames, large blue eyes, and delicate nose. A scar that runs from her jaw down her neck. The scar is faint and only noticeable because the skin is otherwise flawless. When you can finally pull your eyes from her face, you see that she is wearing chainmail armor, has a patch near her neckline that identifies her as a cleric dedicated to Alethea, the goddess of protection. Such clerics are holy warriors skilled with armor and weapons. In addition, they can appeal to their patron goddess for modest gifts of divine aid, similar in some ways to your own magical spells. A guard stands behind her and appears to be staring at her rear. As though aware of his gaze, she turns her head slightly. He's checking out her ass, is what the case is. A guard stands behind her and appears to be staring at her rear. As though aware of his gaze, she turns her head slightly and says, "Leave us, please." The guard frowns. "There lies a wizard, my lady. He may strike using no more than a thought. Doubtful." She answers, nodding to him. The guard stands for a moment, bows, then leaves. The cleric fixes her eyes on you. You try to smile unsuccessfully through the rag bound in your mouth. She chants a long prayer all the while staring down at you as though weighing your soul. Upon finishing, she says, "I shall undo the gag now. You will behave." You nod vigorously. With the gag finally out of your mouth, you breathe easier and thank her. Now that you can speak, you can appeal to the sense of empathy by asking for help, or you can appeal to the sense of justice by denouncing how you have been treated. Ask for help somewhat pitifully. Angrily denounce this injustice. I'm gonna ask for help. Butt kisser. So much butt to kiss, so little time. "I thank your kindness in removing that filthy rag from my mouth," you say gratefully. "As a priestess with divine blessing, you surely know of my innocence. and I have been mistreated by those lacking your wisdom. She looks into your eyes intently. You try to hold her gaze, but eventually falter from embarrassment. She whispers a prayer and then lays her hand upon your side. You feel tingling and then a soothing wave of warm spread over your body. Thank you, my lady. You say. I'm Narissa. She says. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I still have like, 40 minutes, I would say. I'm gonna finish this page and then I'm gonna end. I'm gonna record tomorrow because I don't want to, like, last time I even did this, I recorded for an hour and the next episode was like 40 minutes or so. That's I don't know how long these episodes are, so I just do till I feel like I've done enough. I should have stopped back there. I was just too intrigued by the story. I kind of forgot that I have to stop. I'm Narissa, she says, and you can thank Aletheia, goddess of protection, for bestowing through me her healing breath. Narissa asks you to tell your story from the beginning. You start at the inn where Reginald was murdered. Narissa asks you to back up further. So you tell her about your adventures in Castle Avernus, including the goblins, the evil priest, and the shadow beast that rose up from the sacrificial altar. She asks many questions, particularly about when you questioned Kaiba in the candle room. After you finish your story, she's quiet for some time. Finally, she asks, "It was Kaiba who slew Reginald, judging by the blood on her hand. Judging by the blood on her, you say, not by her own hand, of course, bewitched or possessed. I question her too," Negrissa said. "It's difficult to imagine such a woman doing that." "Oh, certainly. She was merely the vessel, the puppet of an evil entity," you exclaim. "Could there not be the same explanation for you? What do you remember of the night?" "I am no weak-willed plaything for evil. Reginald was a brother to me. This I believe," Negrissa says as she stands up. "But we are all toys of the powerful, to the gods and the lesser beings too." She turns to leave and then, so how are they lesser beings if they are powerful than us? Like, what do you mean lesser beings? Say demons. The demons don't say lesser beings. That makes no sense. It makes no sense in this sentence. Maybe she's talking about like lesser beings to the gods, but I'm not sure. And of course, in this setting, then there's the demon king too. I do not understand how that works every single time. Like, they always follow this pathway, but I don't get it. There's usually, like in a fantasy world, they usually show like there's a kingdom and there's like the demon king. It usually lives in the kingdom, like not in the kingdom, but on the land, on like the human mortal plane, right? And there's a god who lives in his godly realm, right? So this, and then there's like a hero who tries to stop the demon king. So this is those fantasy type stories usually undermines demon kings. They usually show it like demon king is like weaker than a god, right? But actually, well, if you look through that particular instance, it was Lucifer. It was one of the angels that became a fallen angel and then became the demon king. So he is pretty damn powerful. So I would say like he's much stronger. So I prefer, instead of like the anime that usually based on like fantasy where like the hero tries to attack or defeat the demon king, or we portray ourselves as the demon king, those are cool, but at the end of the day they feel wrong to me. Like at the core of them, at the essence of them, feels wrong to me. The way I would want to see it is that they're shown like gods and demons both have separate realms, and there's like a mortal plane of existence where humans and other demi-humans and other species lives. And then doesn't where the story goes, you could go from a human hero, but he will have no chance of fighting a demon king, similar to a god. This is one of the biggest issues that I have when a fantasy story with demons and gods is that they show demons as weaker to a god. So in that setting, the problem comes with like a fallen angel. Lucifer was the one who became a demon king, right? So how is he weaker than the god? So he was one of the archangels. So he was pretty damn strong. And after become a demon, he must have gained some strength and some level of power over time, over his demonic existence, right? So of course he should be on a parallel to a god, to the god, not a god. So that is something that I have never understood in a fantasy setting. So that is always a turn off for me when they do that. They're showing like a human can actually defeat a demon king. So that's just absurd to me. And they never go for a god. Like there are very few shows or very few fantasy settings where they show like a god being on a model scale. Like I know one show. I'm currently reading a manga of it. I'm not sure if it turns out to be if it eventually will be made into an anime, or if it already has been made into an anime. I'm not sure, and I will put the name in the description. The show itself was it shows actually in a very different setting. While similar thing that gods are very superior to demons, as it is shown in the show, and they live in a separate realm, unlike the demons living on the mortal plane. One of the things that they actually show, like humans could possibly be stronger than gods, because gods constantly come into contact with humans, and they become stronger and stronger, and the main character is fairly fucking strong. So that is something that might be possible in their realm, where gods can actually be touched. Obviously they still have the same setting of demons being weaker than gods, so I'm just like, bruh, come on now. And then like one of the weirdest thing to me is like, why did this godly being create the demons in the first place if he just didn't want that, and just why don't just all deleted, shift control, alt control deleted. Well, nowadays the different alt control delete, the new Windows 10, I think it has like shift control delete, and then like goes to, no, that's, what am I saying, shift delete, right? But I was thinking about like task manager, shift delete, right? That permanently deletes an item. Sorry. Okay, so let me just finish this, and we can go on about all day. He turns to leave and then stops. I apologize. The guard here are not as trusting as I am. She kneels back down and gently stuffs the rag back into your mouth. I will meditate on this and ask for Alethia's assistance, she says, and then leaves. Times M slowly as you lie helplessly in the straw. Eventually you cannot hold it any longer. Urinate in your trousers. Although humiliating, it is relieving and provides some welcome warmth down there. Unfortunately, not long before the wet turns against you, chilling your groin and leg. Suddenly echo throughout the dungeon and banging against metal doors, shouts from other prisoners, and a constant drip from somewhere near. Finally you hear footsteps coming. You hope that it is Nerissa here to set you free, or at least to provide you with some food and water. Your heart sinks when you see it is the guard stepping into your cell. He holds a lantern and stares down at you with a fixed expression. His face is flecked with blood. He pulls out a long nasty dagger. Oh, that was a quick timed and well placed ad. Okay, so I'm gonna end it right here, and we're gonna continue from there. And same thing, like, sub, if not that, just share the video. In the description is my Twitter, where I'm going to be uploading the photo after uploading this, the photo of the desert sorcerers from Dark Souls 3 that I found somewhere. And except for that, there's my DTube account. Go there, check out my hentai let's plays. And same thing, just go there, and there's like a gear button on top. Click that, allow NSW stuff. My channel will pop up in existence. Like, it's funny, like when you go on my channel on DTube, it's like two videos. One is like a test upload, 5 seconds. It's like nothing, just a dark screen that says test. And the other one is just like me talking about a new update in the game. There's nothing on the content. Like, yeah, man, there's no content on this channel. And then you unlock the fucking NSW allow, and just like pop, like 15 videos pop out. It's like, it's funny. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.